The seating chart was my first clue that I'd been downgraded from sister to inconvenience. Table 9. I stared at the placement card in my sister Vanessa's kitchen. I'm at table 9? It's just logistics, Sophie. Vanessa didn't look up from her laptop where she was video calling her wedding planner, Dominique Laurent, whose French accent and $40,000 fee had convinced my parents she was worth mortgaging their retirement for. Dom says single guests don't photograph well at premium tables. On screen, Dominique nodded emphatically. Zay aesthetics, you understand. Couples create visual symmetry. Single people. She made a dismissive gesture. Zay disrupt ZE flow. I'm Dr. Sophie Chin, 31, and I negotiate international hostage releases and peace treaties for the UN Security Council. I've sat across from warlords and human traffickers without flinching. But my younger sister's wedding planner had just declared me aesthetically disruptive. Table 9 is with mom's coworkers and dad's golfing buddy, I said carefully. Exactly. People you can chat with. Not like you'd bring a date anyway. Vanessa finally looked at me, her smile bright and empty. You're always traveling for that government job. When would you even meet someone? That government job had put me in Geneva 3 days ago, mediating between two nations on the brink of war. I'd flown back specifically for this final dress fitting, operating on 4 hours of sleep and carrying a phone that had direct lines to 6 different heads of state. The family photos are next week, Dominique continued. We're doing them early before Z wedding stress. Very editorial, very Vogue. We need clean lines, sophisticated groupings. Sophie can be in some of them, Vanessa added generously. Just not the immediate family shots. Those need to be couples only. You understand. I understood that my parents, sitting across the table and saying nothing, had already agreed to this. I have a work commitment next week, I said. I might not make the photo session. Sophie. Mom's first contribution to the conversation was disappointment. It's one afternoon. Surely your job can spare you for your sister's wedding photos. My job was currently managing the fallback from a failed peace negotiation in Yemen that had left 40 civilians dead. But explaining that would require explaining what I actually did, and we'd had that conversation before. It always ended with Dad saying, yes, but what do you actually do at the UN? File papers. I'll try, I said, which was more commitment than they deserved. The dress fitting was worse. Dominique had designed all the bridesmaid dresses to complement their partners' tuxedos. Each couple color-coordinated like wedding cake toppers. And for Sophie, Dominique pulled out a dress the color of dishwater. Something neutral. Since she has no partner to coordinate with. It's very gray, I observed. Taupe, Dominique corrected icily. It will blend into Z background beautifully. You won't distract from Z couples. Vanessa beamed. It's perfect, sophomore. You'll barely be noticeable. My phone buzzed. A message from Ambassador Chin. Secretary General needs you in New York tomorrow. Sudan situation escalating. Your presence requested at Emergency Security Council session. I excused myself to take the call in Vanessa's bathroom. 20 minutes later, I'd coordinated with 3 ambassadors, confirmed my flight, and authorized a preliminary peacekeeping deployment. When I returned, they'd moved on to discussing centerpieces. You missed the cake tasting. Vanessa pouted. I had to take that call. You're always on calls, Mom said. Can't someone else handle these things? It's your sister's wedding month. Someone else couldn't handle these things. That was specifically why I'd been recruited at 26, why I carried level 5 security clearance, why my passport had more stamps than pages. But they'd never asked about any of that. The photo session was scheduled for Thursday. I landed at JFK on Wednesday night after 17 hours of negotiations that had successfully de-escalated a border conflict. I'd slept on the plane and gone straight to the Security Council for a briefing. I was walking out of UN headquarters when my phone rang. Vanessa, where are you? Photos start in an hour. I checked my watch. It was 2 p.m. I'm in New York. I told you I had a work commitment. Sophie, you promised. I said I'd try. I was literally preventing a war. Right, your important government job. Her tone made it clear she thought I was filing immigration paperwork. Mom's going to be so disappointed. We're all here, everyone but you. I'm sorry, Vanessa. I can't control international crises. You can't control anything. That's why you're still single and living in that depressing apartment and missing your own sister's wedding photos. She hung up. 3 minutes later, Mom called. Sophie, please. Just this once, can your job not be more important than family? I stood on First Avenue watching diplomats and security personnel flow in and out of the UN building, and felt something shift. Mom, what is it you think I do? You work for the UN. Some kind of administrative position. I negotiate peace treaties. I mediate international conflicts. Yesterday, I spent 11 hours convincing 2 countries not to go to war over a border dispute that would have killed thousands of people. Silence. I carry level 5 security clearance. I report directly to the Secretary General. I'm the youngest senior mediator in the UN Security Council's history. My voice was quiet but steady. And I've been doing this for 5 years, but you've never asked me about it. Not once. Well, Mom's voice was tight. That doesn't mean you can skip your sister's wedding events. I'll be at the wedding. I've blocked out the entire weekend, which required rescheduling 2 international summits. I ended the call. The wedding was at the Ashford Estate, 2 hours upstate. I arrived Friday evening to find Vanessa in the bridal suite, surrounded by her color-coordinated wedding party, everyone in matching silk robes. Oh good, you made it, she said without looking up from her phone. Your taupe dress is in the corner. Try not to wrinkle it. The rehearsal dinner seated me between Vanessa's college roommate's uncle and someone's cousin's boyfriend. I made polite conversation while monitoring my phone for updates on the Sudan situation. Another work emergency? Dominique's voice dripped with disapproval as I stepped away to take a call from Ambassador Okoye. The situation is stable, she reported. But the Secretary General wants you to know he may need to pull you back tomorrow if things deteriorate. Tomorrow's my sister's wedding. He's aware. He said to tell you he'll only call if it's absolutely critical. Ambassador Okoye paused. Sophie, he also wanted me to tell you that he's noticed you've been covering for 2 other mediators this month, taking their assignments so they could attend personal events. Someone has to do the work. Yes, but perhaps you should occasionally be the someone at the personal event. I returned to find Vanessa holding court about her wedding vision. Everything's going to be perfect. Editorial, sophisticated, completely Instagram-worthy. Speaking of Instagram, Dominique added, we've designated specific photo zones. Single guests should avoid the premium areas during cocktail hour. We want couple-focused content. I felt my jaw tighten but said nothing. The wedding day started at 6 a.m. with a message from the Secretary General. Situation deteriorating. May need you by evening. Standing by. I got dressed in my taupe dress that made me look like a ghost, did my makeup and went downstairs for the 8 a.m. family breakfast that Dominique had coordinated like a military operation. Sophie, you're late, Mom hissed. Photos start in 15 minutes. I'm right on time. 4Z couples photos, Dominique announced. We'll need Sophie to step aside. Z groupings are very precisely arranged. I watched them position Vanessa and her fiancé Ryan, their parents as couples, the bridesmaids with their partners. My parents stood together, smiling for the camera. Can we get one with both daughters? Dad suggested tentatively. Dominique's expression soured. It will disrupt Z's symmetry, but fine. One shot. I stood next to Vanessa, who angled herself slightly away from me, her smile never faltering. Lovely, Dominique declared. Now back to Z real groupings. My phone buzzed. Secretary General, need you immediately. Sudan peace talks collapsed. Violence erupting. Sending security escort. I stepped away, already coordinating. Ambassador Chen, I'm 2 hours from the city. I can be at headquarters by. Sophie. Vanessa's voice was shrill. You're not seriously taking a work call during my wedding photos. There's a situation. There's always a situation. For once, just once, can you not prioritize your stupid job over your family? The entire wedding party had gone silent. Even the photographer had lowered his camera. My stupid job? I repeated softly. Yes. Your pointless government job that you act so important about, missing every family event, always on your phone, too busy to even find a date. The roar of vehicles interrupted her. 3 black SUVs with diplomatic plates pulled up the estate's driveway at speed. UN security personnel emerged, including my regular protection detail when situations turned critical. Dr. Chin. Captain Morrison approached, his expression professionally neutral. Secretary General requests your immediate presence. We have a helicopter standing by. Dominique stared. A helicopter? The Sudan peace talks have collapsed, I said, already moving. There's active conflict. Civilian casualties mounting. Dr. Chin serves as senior mediator for the UN Security Council, Captain Morrison added, his voice carrying across the stunned group. She's one of 3 people authorized to negotiate directly on behalf of the Secretary General in international conflicts. Wait, Ryan, Vanessa's fiancé, stepped forward. Sophie's the Dr. Chin? The one who negotiated the Gaza ceasefire last year. And the Yemen peace accord, Captain Morrison confirmed. Among others. My mother had gone pale. Sophie, you never said. I did, Mom. Multiple times. You just never listened past, I work at the UN. A phone rang, not mine but the estate's main office line. The coordinator rushed out. There's someone asking for Dr. Sophie Chin? Says he's the UN Secretary General. I took the phone. Mr. Secretary. Sophie, I apologize profusely for this timing. His voice was grave. We have a situation that specifically requires your expertise. The Sudanese ambassador will only negotiate with you. I understand, sir. I'm leaving now. Your sister's wedding will survive without me, sir. The people in Sudan won't survive without a ceasefire. I could feel everyone watching as I ended the call. Vanessa looked like she'd been slapped. You're leaving, she said. You're actually leaving my wedding. 200 people are dead, Vanessa. By tonight it could be 2,000. There's a warlord who trusts me enough to come to the negotiating table. If I don't go, a lot of innocent people will die. But I'm your sister. Yes. And for 5 years, you've treated me like an embarrassment because I'm single and busy and don't fit into your aesthetic vision. I pulled off the taupe dress, revealing the simple black suit I'd worn underneath. I'd learned to dress in layers for quick exits. I've missed birthdays and holidays and apparently perfect photo opportunities because I was too busy preventing wars. And not once did you or Mom or Dad ask what I was actually doing. You just assumed I was being difficult. Captain Morrison held out my go bag. Always packed, always ready. I grabbed it. Dr. Chin, Dominique's voice was faint. I had no idea. That I wasn't just some pathetic single woman ruining your visual symmetry? I slipped into my blazer. No, you didn't. Because it was easier to dismiss me than to actually see me. Sophie, please. Mom reached for me. We didn't understand. You didn't try to understand. There's a difference. I walked toward the SUV, then paused and turned back. Vanessa, I hope you have a beautiful wedding. I really do. I hope your photos are perfect and editorial and everything you dreamed of. But you won't be in them, she whispered. No. I'll be in a conference room in Geneva, negotiating a peace treaty that might save a few thousand lives. It's not as pretty, but it matters more. The helicopter was waiting on the estate's grounds. As we lifted off, I saw the wedding party standing in a cluster, their color-coordinated outfits looking exactly as sophisticated and symmetrical as Dominique had planned. And utterly, completely hollow. By the time Vanessa was cutting her cake, I was landing in Geneva. By the time she was having her first dance, I was across a table from a warlord who'd killed hundreds of people, convincing him that peace was more profitable than war. By the time she was throwing her bouquet to a crowd of coupled bridesmaids, I was shaking hands with the Sudanese ambassador, a preliminary ceasefire agreement signed. My phone buzzed with messages. Mom, Dad, even Ryan. All saying the same thing, we're sorry. We didn't know. We should have asked. I didn't respond. I had a debriefing with the Secretary General, then a press conference, then another negotiating session scheduled for dawn. The Secretary General found me in my office at 3 a.m., reviewing ceasefire terms. You should rest, Sophie. In a few hours, sir. Your family made their priorities clear. As have I. He studied me for a long moment. The Sudanese ambassador asked about you specifically. Said you were the only Western negotiator who'd ever truly listened to their position. Listening is underrated, I said quietly. Yes. He moved toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, I'm sorry you missed your sister's wedding. Family matters. So do the lives of 2,000 civilians who'll wake up tomorrow because we stopped the fighting. He smiled faintly. Indeed they do. The photos from Vanessa's wedding appeared on Instagram 3 days later. Perfectly coordinated couples in editorial poses, every shot aesthetically flawless. I was tagged in none of them. But I was mentioned in the New York Times article about the Sudan peace accord, my name listed among the key negotiators who'd prevented a humanitarian catastrophe. My parents called. I let it go to voicemail. They could wait their turn. After all, I had a world that actually needed me.